So what's being suggested here, and this is seemingly inspired by recent events because everyone keeps on talking about it, um, is this the apparent death ceremony. All of these are rituals of the dead. It's a ceremony. It's the death of death, the death of life, the death of a separate God, the death of consciousness, the death of awareness, the death of everything, the death of nothing. It's the emptiness when you are dead. It's the blank in this seeming richness. It's this exquisite pain and exquisite pleasure. The grief, the sorrow, the aliveness. This is like what seems to appear is like a eulogy for your own death. Every time you speak, it's like you're doing the reading of your own eulogy. It doesn't really matter. When you're dead, whatever seems to have happened did not really happen. I'll probably get a name of the death non-duality speaker here. It doesn't really matter what is said, what is done, what happened, what needs to be accomplished, because everything is resting in peace forever. No matter how many mourners, no matter how many eulogies are read, no matter how many flowers are sent, or even if no one attended, or if no one cared, because it's death. Have you ever witnessed your own death? You will never witness your own death. You will seemingly witness the appearance of death of others, but that's just another illusion. Have you ever witnessed someone die? When San Miguel passed away, my dog, he died in my arms. He wagged his tail a couple times and it was done. It was very sad. But there was this utter worldly peacefulness about it. There was this serenity that seemingly filled the room. It was empty, empty, and empty. And what seems to appear, even in that death, even in that peacefulness, even in that quietness, was this wow, wow. These emotions that come and go, the sobbing. And there's also the memories of my dog jumping up and down, licking me to thank me. It's like licking off the nectar of life on a sharp edge of a sword of death. It's super sweet, but it's also very painful. So what seems to be appearing is everything in between. It's exquisitely sweet, but also exquisitely painful. And that appearance, although it's either longed for that exquisite sweetness or avoided that exquisite pain, it can't be avoided. It can't be dismissed. Because that's what is appearing as these polarities. It's what seemingly makes this apparent existence of the non-existent unconditionally loved. Because whatever seems to appear is welcome. So it could be the bitterness, the anger, the frustration, the gleefulness, the blissfulness. So what seemingly appears is celebrated, but you're not celebrating it. So this is a celebration of death. This is a celebration of the emptiness in everything. This is a celebration of what cannot be understood. This is the celebration of the confusion, the longing, the desiring. This is also the celebration of contentment, of what is. This aliveness and death appearing simultaneously. For a lack of a better term, is this freedom of expression of what we long for, the ups and downs and everything. But what seems to be longed for is the silence of everything. But the silence of everything cannot be understood because it appears in everything. So in this eulogy, in this apparent silence, appearing as words, appearing as feelings, emotions, sensations, appearances, although everything is already dead, there's a celebration, an uprising of some sort, of what cannot be imagined, but is felt as real. Again, it's like it's like tasting the sweetest life on the sharpest edge of the sharpest sword of death. It's like God tasting itself, but there's no God. Before you go there again, we're just using words. This apparent appearance is so beautiful. It's so stunning. Because without these appearances of duality, there's no celebration, there's no grief. Celebration, grief, same thing. It's this wowness, the fullness of everything. And it's just so wonderful. Painful. But when it's seen that this beautiful, everything that I've said is just a play. So sometimes you'll cry, sometimes you'll clap, sometimes it's a slow clap. It's just, wow. That even though you're not here, even though I'm not here, no one's here, we get to celebrate together. We get to laugh together about this absurdity that we can't seem to understand and will never figure out. So what? So what? So what? Well, that's the end of my intro and outro. May you rest in peace. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
Hey, Emerson, that was great.
Hey. Oh, thank you. Thank you so
You
much,
know,
Joey.
we've never met a sad skeleton.
No.
It doesn't matter, human skeleton, cat, cow, all their teeth are just there.
Yeah.
Life was the deceiver.
Yes, it is, right? Because kind of like what I talked about before, when we have this hold on what life should be and what it could be, it almost kind of like blocks this stunning, you know what I'm saying, alive death, whatever it is that's appearing that we can never figure out because we're so busy trying to figure out what can't be figured out, that the exquisiteness of this pain, pleasure, sweetness, bitterness is missed sometimes because we're trying to get rid of it. But when it's seen, you know what I'm saying, as that no one is choosing to do any of this, no one is doing any of this, it's it could be really brutal. But it's for, again, where we can just use this, but it's life that's lived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing, because we get grown up with this cult called life,
Yeah.
and we all get hypnotized by becoming something that
Yeah.
that and then this message, although it's very radical, most people be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Some of these videos are unreleasable. You know what I'm saying? They're like, what
but
the fuck of a cult is this? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Talking
yeah,
the death
the death
cult.
cult, the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. The Grateful Dead. Yeah.
But it's pure honesty, it's pure freedom, it's hopeless, it's we could
It's
just sing and dance,
hopeless.
and yeah,
Yeah.
this is we can live through through dying through.
And it's a celebration at the same time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
celebration of the hopelessness, because it is going to be whatever it is, and there's nothing that we can do. So why don't we celebrate it?
yeah, yeah,
Why don't we
yeah,
dance with it? You know,
yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's not about, because all, what, it's kind of like this communication. I think, I'm not sure who said it first, but it's like the last house.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah,
last
yeah,
house, right?
yeah,
It's the last block, and there's no exit sign. There's no signs at all, because it is what it is, right? It's like almost like you turn around and you kind of like, I like this analogy. Now you keep on hitting the wall, hitting the wall, hitting the wall, but the wall's not going to disappear, and you're not going to disappear, because it's this illusion of reality. So you turn around and you see the forest behind it. You see the mountains, you see the butterflies, and then sometimes you'll step on a thorn and you'll bleed. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
you keep on
yeah,
walking along. Sometimes, there's going to be curveballs, and there's going to be disasters and everything. But this apparent seeming experience of someone that cannot, that's even not a someone, because there's no someone here. It's just almost like this beautiful orchestration of separation, but it's whole.
yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
When this character did a ayahuasca ceremony, one of many, there was something that happened that was funny. This lady was kind of flip flopping, screaming to the shaman, "I'm dying, I'm dying,"
Yeah, yeah.
and and then she responds, "Just die." And it was rough words, but it's kind of similar here. It's the
Yeah,
best thing is the struggle's over. The you don't have to
yeah,
be any. You're not anything. You'll never become a thing. And who wants to be a thing? Like, ew.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's this, you know what? There's this. It's kind of funny, because when you really look at it, this, the seeking is kind of like a death wish.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
death
yeah,
wish. It's a death for the resolving or the dissolution of everything that is worries about, the letting go of all of the apparent sins or shame or whatever, the letting go of the anxiety of the future. But when the future and past are dead, meaning that they're not at all. So what's celebrated is just this exquisiteness, this intimacy of um, this undividedness. It's undivided that feels divided. How exquisite is that? How wow is that? It's just like, it's it's like, there's this idea of this pure bliss. You know what I'm saying? Of not having any thoughts or not having any feelings, even. You know what I'm saying? Just this kind of like, I'm one with the thing. Um, Holding my dog dying, when the last wags of the tail, although how sad and exquisitely painful it was, is what makes this.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
piercing heartbreak, you know what I'm saying, of kind of like loss and everything. And at the same time, the next day, you know what I'm saying, you're walking, and it's like everything is alive. Although
yeah,
someone, the one that you love the most just died. It's the aliveness of the heartache, it's the aliveness of the tears, the warmth of the tears, and the sobbing and the crying, and the looking at pictures of what passed, and it's a celebration of life and death. Both are illusions, but we're celebrating illusions. We're celebrating. it's
yeah,
like it's like like Of course, saying my, and this is just a random coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidences. Of course, I looked at my phone. iPhone usually creates this montage. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, there's the montage of my dog. Saying all of his pictures kind of like appearing, and it was so sweet. It was so sweet, and it was also so heartbreaking at the same time, right? It's so painful, but it's sweet. It's like kind of like what I said. It's like licking off. You know what I'm saying? The sweet nectar of life at the end, at the death, at the sharpest, the end of sharpest knife of death. It's here and it's taken away. It's here and it's taken away. It's here and taken away. And that here, the coming and going, the losing, the meing and being, you know what I'm saying, is what is wonderful about this. Is what is just this the wow about this. It's it's the aliveness in death. It's the avoidance of that is the suffering, right? But when tasting, for example, this severe pain, you know what I'm saying, and the crying and everything like that, when it's not avoided, actually it's there's something so beautiful about it. There's something so like even kind of like with the I didn't see the queen stuff, but people were telling me that there's ceremonies and people mourning and everything for a fictional character that you never knew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that grandiosity of this nothing. It's so wonderful. Or even the feeling of like, oh, I don't really care about that. That's also part of it. It's just
Yeah,
it's
it's beautiful because yeah, the seeking, it ends up creating depression, anxiety, all these things, and it might even take your life eventually if it gets real extreme.
yeah,
Because and so you don't really, this message is so it's just so beautiful because
yeah.
death is our BFF. It's
Yes. It's unavoidable. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
yeah, and to die before you die, wow, that's the only way you can live, really.
Yeah. It's gonna like live like you're dead.
Yeah.
Nothing matters.
Yeah, cheers to death.
Live like you're dying. You know what I'm saying? Because you are.
Yeah. We're
It's
we're we're rotting corpses, so
that's right.
we might as well enjoy
Yeah. And there's
enjoy
nothing that
the
you can
hilarity
do
of it.
about it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that you
Yeah.
can do about it. If you really look at this, what seemingly is happening is the avoidance of that.
Right,
The
right, right,
avoidance of
right,
that,
right,
the
right, right.
the quest for, immortality, the ultimate enlightenment. But I'm sorry, every apparent enlightened being died.
Yeah.
Some of them had cancer, you know what I'm saying? Some painful death, you know what I'm saying? So would you really want to spend your life in a loincloth, you know what I'm saying, if that's what you want? When when
Yeah.
this is this grand, you know what I'm saying? It's so grand, this life, right? It's so grand.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
not even
beautiful.
real.
Yeah. Yeah,
would you
the
would you really want to spend the rest of your day meditating 6 hours a day? It's like trying to figure this out, trying to go to that bliss when everything is already free. It's already
Yeah,
done.
because there's somewhere in the brain, it knows it's an image or a rotting corpse, and it can't deal with it. So the seeking kind of becomes automatic, and it comes in all kinds of forms, endless forms. But yeah,
Yeah,
this is like sober sauce. This is just like, whoa,
yeah,
the joy of deathing and
yeah.
lifing simultaneously,
Simultaneously, yeah.
like
It,
like like this will never repeat. All these images were just in this
yeah,
miraculous moment, a holy
yeah,
instant,
yeah.
and that's very
Although
liberating.
although everything is an illusion, you know what I'm saying? Everything is a dream. But
Hmm.
damn, what a great job
Yeah. You
of
got
this felt sense realness. And that's people were like, but I still have this felt sense realness. I'm like, you don't want to lose that. This is alive.
Right, 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 right,
This is
right.
the
Yeah.
hugging, this is the crying, this is the caring, this is the, it's so funny when people usually hear this, it's heard as a denial. It's not a
Like
denial.
nihilism. It's nihil. They go into
Yeah,
nihilism. I have a friend,
yeah,
he listened to a couple of these. He's so depressed and he's like, this is nothing, nothing. It's like, no, you didn't hear it. This is
yeah,
innocence. This is innocence. No one,
yeah,
it's innocence. No, no,
yeah,
no, no person that all the bad stuff happened, they're innocent. All the good things you did, innocent.
yeah.
That's another
and
word for,
and for example, when it said that there's no doer, people are like, oh, that's yeah. It should be a hooray.
yeah, yeah. Like, God.
You're, you have never done anything, you can't do anything. Wow, hooray.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or it will be said that this is an illusion, and people are like, well, that's horrible. Saying it's like, it's heard as nihilism, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what's
But
it's
it's
not
it's
about
it's free. It's freedom. It's like, oh my
but it
God,
is
just
what it is. It is
yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
It's just a sober kind of like, there's no reality, but a hard slap to reality. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like so many years, or trying to seek, enlightenment, awakening, all of this stuff when it's already awakely dead.
yeah, 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 and then it gives us front row seats to enjoy it a lot lighter.
Yeah,
Just like,
yeah,
hey, this is wild. Like dead people are speaking. Like,
yeah.
like
It is. It
appearances are
is.
moving. Like
It's everything is just appearing, disappearing, and then
disappearing. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then all of a sudden, saying you go to bed at night, and then it starts all over again. It's just this, it's
The appearance show starts all over
so
again.
it's all over again, and no one knows what death is. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
What death is, but what is seen though is that there's no ending and there's no beginning. So even that idea of death as an ending is not true, because there's
Yeah,
nothing true or false, or even idea of what death should be is not, it's not what it is. It's not what it is, because all that there is this, and this, you know what I'm saying, is always changing. It's phenomenal. Although it's completely still, it's always changing. It's
yeah.
dynamic.
It's
It's dynamic
miraculous.
movement. It's miraculous. So trying to figure it out, I'm saying, when it's moving, it's like chasing kind of like a bullet train all the time. It gets exhausting. You will never catch it.
I want to go there, and then life takes you the opposite way. Or
Yeah, it's when I heard this is how it felt, right? That this was kind of like, it's like you're struck sober. You're like, damn it. But sobriety is not too bad.
right, right, yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, sobriety is not bad at all. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because um, it's just everything is more alive. There's no more escapism, and then we get caught up in listening and drinking to all of these ideas about, enlightenment and everything. We get intoxicated, and then we get into some magic tricks and everything. Uh, but
yeah.
that runs pretty thin. You know what I'm saying? That gets seen through, like, okay, you know what? I know it's all bullshit, but come on. Because all of this disappears and appears again, and rather than kind of like, contemplating, or transfixing, or abiding, or all of that kind of stuff, it's trying to kind of like, trying to, you can't avoid pain. You can't avoid death. Death happens, pain happens, there's no you that can avoid it. So trying to trying to avoid, trying to just in this blissful stuff, fine, go with it. See how it goes.
Yeah, living is the source of misery. I mean, living by the definition that we have a
Yeah,
concept of,
when it becomes
some
my
future,
life, my
my life.
control,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
my
yeah, yeah, yeah,
creation,
yeah,
my
yeah.
destiny, my thing, my. it's just it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So when When the seeker tires out, when that seeking energy tires out, there's just a retirement. The retirement just happens, and it's like, oh wow. So this talk just becomes music. It just becomes, just entertainment. It's not something that is trying to be figured out, or 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 the other one that was really tiring was jumping back and forth to many different teachers, and which one is right, or kind of like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
crisis happen, I'm like, okay, I got to get my mala bead, maybe I'll do the sign of the cross, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Something will land. Because it's afraid. It's afraid, but when
yeah,
fear
yeah.
is
It's
seen as an
terrified.
illusion, it's just the other exquisiteness again, the exquisite fear, the exquisite anxiety. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, wow, like, this, if I was going to rate this appearance ago, it's going to be a 5 Michelin star thing because it's just so, so rich.
we we were talking in the breakout room. You weren't there, but we were about the Bible. The Bible starts out with God, and
Oh,
then He
yeah, yeah,
created
yeah.
Adam, and
Yeah.
left and right, and it's like, oh my God, that's the me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
It's
that's,
the, that's the
that's why when I
superhero.
say it becomes like the personal God, right? It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah,
it's just, I don't want to take ownership of this. So let's,
yeah, yeah,
it's just avoid. It's just avoidance. This is all avoidance. You know what I'm saying? All of this seeking is avoiding what is. But what is not so bad. The
yeah,
people
yeah.
are, when people say this is it, and then they're like, well, I don't want something better than this. It's like a kid having a tantrum. No. There's got to be something better than this. So when there's this pain and there's this suffering, that's kind of like, it is what it is. That's also it.
Yeah,
And what I
yeah,
like
and
about this communication, it will just point out that, well, that's also what's happening. And then, of course, someone will say, well, there's got to be something more than what's happening in
yeah,
imagination. Yeah.
yeah. Imagination. We little and we start watching superheroes, and then we go to Catholic school. There's superhero priests, there's superhero
Oh,
king,
yeah,
superhero
yeah.
queen, superhero. So
Until you
so
get
yeah,
abused.
yeah, yeah. Until you know what's really going on. Then the idols start crumbling.
And if we don't have superheroes when we kid, it becomes this idolatry, saying it becomes
Yeah, big
teachers, it
time.
becomes gurus, it becomes
Yeah,
seekers and everything. So encountering this communication, and someone is basically saying there's no one special here, there's no one at all, then, and it even takes a while sometimes, people keep on seeking and seeking. They're like, well, this character Emerson must be really special and everything, right? um, but there's also nothing here. It's nothing everywhere.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
hopeless. It's completely hopeless. There's no meaning to this. Hooray!
yeah, yeah.
Celebration.
Hooray! Yeah, death is my favorite
Yeah.
concept today. So thanks for the.
It seems to come a lot in my talks apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was kind of like, it's like when there was this seeming kind of like non-happening of the death of the character. So there will be like flies of, like, hope it will just die, boom. Like, what? Everything does not stick anymore, right? It just dies. It just goes in a nosedive, and it just goes down the drain. Everything, hope, fate, specialness, everything, everything. So what comes out is just this authenticity of this apparent illusion appearing as it is. It can wear some bird of paradise shirt, you know what I'm saying? It's because it's alive and it's dead at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Beautiful.
it's not fixed on death, and it's not fixed on life. It is just what it is. It's not focused on how should I live, or I'm afraid of dying. That drops. There's just this
Yeah, it gives
aliveness.
it gives new meaning to yin yang, at least for this character. What you just said, it's got those things happening at the same time. It's like we only hear the life, and then we're afraid of the other part.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
well, thank you, Emerson.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Tej goes, brutal love. This is already a word party. Yes, it's a word party. Aren't wakes a celebration of life? Yeah, it is actually. Thank you, Marcy. Hi Emerson, what are you drinking? It's double bergamot Earl Grey tea. Double bergamot. So good.
So it's a double.
It's a double bergamot. That's the label. Sound and silence is the same. Yeah, yeah. Hey Kim.
Hey, Emerson.
Hey, I can barely hear you.
Could we? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Um, well, I was just wondering about this funny thing about time, that the the impossibility of like aging, and
Yeah,
and and it's just so strange because I mean everything is immediate, right?
yeah.
It's just this right here, this, yeah. So
It is. Yeah,
and yeah, so all change is it's just,
it's an
how's
illusion.
that
Yeah.
possible?
It's again. There's this stillness, right? There's this sea of stillness, and there's this appearance of time happening. Um, time kind of like with a kind of like a linear time, like this linear time from here to there. But when it's seen that it's an illusion, everything's happening all at once. Time
Yes.
is appearing all at once. You know what I'm saying? But there's this illusion of a continuous linear time that's moving from here to there. So this is a wrinkle in time. So this is kind of like the coils. You know what I'm saying? But it's all infinite. It's just an appearance. It's just an
Yeah.
appearance. What's permanent is when you, for example, when you're sleeping at night, the deep sleep, that's permanence. That's infinity. That's timelessness. And then there's this exquisite time that appears as, I don't know, nighttime, daytime, and everything. It's just this apparent, it's just a play of light.
Yeah.
But trying to figure out what infinity is will take you an infinite time because it can't be
Yeah.
figured
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But it's just this explosion, kind of like what I'm saying. This is death and life appearing, but both are an illusion. There's no death, there's no life. So there's this impossibility. Scientifically, you know what I'm saying? There's no self. Scientifically, there's no time. Scientifically, there's no consciousness. Scientifically, there's no free will. But somehow, this impossibility is happening. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
And then we're so concerned about our seeking when this impossibility is happening. The hair is growing, you know what I'm saying? The wind is blowing.
Yeah.
The bergamot, double bergamot tea is delicious. It's just so beautiful. And not even just the positive things, right? You know what I'm saying? The the taking care of, like, waking up at like early in the morning and taking care of your pet. The sadness when you feel that your mom is beginning to deteriorate. The the memory of, like, seeing your puppy dog, you know what I'm saying, that passed away. The absence of some friends that you used to talk to. The new friends that I meet in these Zoom meetings, the joyfulness and everything. All of that, right? It's just this it's beautiful. It's like a kaleidoscope, you know what I'm saying? Everything can, like, changing and beautiful. It's mesmerizing.
Yeah, and it has more and more like a dream quality because
Yeah,
it's
because it is a
just,
dream.
yeah.
It is a dream. That's what it is. That's why it's dreamlike. But when we're caught up in trying to figure out the dream, trying to get out of the dream, then it becomes a nightmare. Seemingly. Seemingly. You know what I'm saying? So when this aliveness is well, no one's embracing it, it's embraced as it is. Right? No one choosing it. When all of the kind of like, oh, this can't be it. You know what? Um, whatever comes up, kind of like what Marcy caught there, right? So she's saying a whole bunch of stuff. If there's a pause right now, if there's a pause button right now, and there's no history, there's no future, there's no history, there's no definition, there's no label, it's just disappearance. Or if everything gets muted out completely, you know what I'm saying? It's just disappearance of this animated movement. It's just this emptiness moving. I'm even saying too much now because what's movement? What's emptiness when there's nothing? It's just this billions of colors. You know what I'm saying? Sight, smell, taste, feelings, sensations. It's just what is. It's just this appearance. And all of this gets taken away at night and then it appears again. What a wondrous miracle.
It is.
Yeah, and then to top it off, you don't know what's next. You will never know what's next. And there's an element of surprise in it too. It's a page turner. Although no one's turning the page, right? It's the best novel that you'll ever read, but you're not reading it. And you're in it. You're the story.
Yeah, and there is no next, and there is no I.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. And if you're too busy trying to figure out the letters and the spaces, you know what I'm saying? That the story is missed. Trying to get out of the page when it's just a character, it's just a letter appearing in all of these blank pages. It's beautiful.
early on my walk today, I actually felt like responsibility just fell off like a heavy backpack of stones. It,
Yes.
it it's yeah, it's just insane what the mind can create in that manner.
Yeah. And there's not even a mind that's creating this.
No, no, no. It's that story that has been going on here. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's like if you look at a book, we're too busy at the punctuation marks, so we're missing the story, the letters. We want the exclamation point, the period, the question mark. That the story is missed.
but I was actually more sense of the all of a sudden this revelation of the blank page it all was written on.
Yes,
Y-
that's
y-
it. Yeah.
Just
And the story doesn't even matter because it's really just
no,
blank. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's when all of the baggage, because the belief that you are the story instead of just the story.
yeah,
And that's the
yeah.
backpack. That's the rocks in the backpack, is that you are carrying the story, that you are writing it,
Absolutely.
that you are the
That's
author.
so that's so heavy.
It's so
It's
heavy.
so
The
extremely heavy.
authorship, right? It's kind of like, oh, am I the author
Yeah,
of this? How do I change this? How do I?
yeah.
Yeah. It's just letters and an alphabet appearing, but it's the blank page that's missed, the emptiness.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. What a relief.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, tremendously. Thank you, Emerson. Thank you.
Oh, no one did anything here, so, but you're welcome. As soon as I wake up, the dream is forgotten. This is the same. Yes. There's no you that wakes up though. It's always just this empty page, right? Where all of this dream kind of like, story sequences appear. But it's always, what's permanent is that it's always a blank page. Everything is ground zero. Everything appears. Everything is equalized as nothing. It's like nothing really happens. Nothing really happens. Nothing really happens. Nothing really happens. But it appears as a happening. It's a celebration of death and life. But there's no death and life, it's just celebration. Wow, Kane. Wow. It's always an empty field. How amazing is this? Well, radiance 24/7, yeah. It's always radiance. When we say it's rest in peace, yeah. This is always resting in peace. There's this silence that's forever that can't be heard. It's always present. There's this emptiness that cannot be felt because it's empty, but it's always present. This empty, in this empty field, in this silence that's always there. That's everyone. That's where everything appears and disappears. But the only thing that's permanent is the silence, the peace. And that's what is. So whatever appears with what is also what is. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Emerson.
Hi.
You mentioned the term radiant presence, or
Yeah.
someone did,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because there's a non-dual. Well, now I say non-dual. There's always this kind of asterisk
Yeah.
from now on, but this non-dual teacher who I followed quite a bit, went to quite a few of his talks in San Francisco, the Bay Area, and also up here. But I think he even wrote a book called Radiant Presence. But and I don't I don't share this stuff to bash anybody, to put
Yeah. Yeah.
anyone down, but it's so helpful for me to recognize the subtle differences
Yeah.
in these sharings, in these
Yeah.
not teachings, but these sharings, these, the message. So that's the only reason. But I hadn't thought about Radiant Presence, but he just passed away.
Yeah.
Here
Yeah.
you're talking about death. He just passed away last
Yeah.
week. Somebody emailed me from the group, but I've been away from it for a couple of years now. But I was big into it, and I would actually take mushrooms and go and listen to him talk, thinking I'm going to get it more. And,
Yeah.
oh my God. But anyway, but the big thing with Radiant Presence, the point here is there was still this suggestion to recognize the radiant presence that always is, that there was something to do to
Yeah.
recognize, to abide in, to be aware of. I mean, it was still dual. It was still
Yeah,
dual
yeah, and
in the
that's
guise of non-duality. So I hadn't thought of radiant presence. I'm
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
don't like radiant presence.
yeah, yeah. That's
I sat trying to be a radiant presence too
yeah.
long.
That's why if you notice the way that I share this, it flip flops everywhere. It's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? One day I'm
Yeah,
talking
oh
about
yeah.
this because this can't be when it becomes a signature. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a signature of the teacher. It becomes this doing, this, when there's some doing involved, when there's this kind of like
Yeah.
instructing to do this, to abide, or to settle there, settle there, then the there becomes a finality. You know what I'm saying? A place that where you should always abide in, a place where you should always pay attention to. It's
And
like,
where at times you may not,
yes,
right? It's like
yeah,
you so there's this, and then
yeah,
it's like ripe for that me to just come up, and I gotta,
yeah,
okay, I'm there, I'm not, and
yeah,
it's the same,
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same.
It's the same in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? If you're if it's kind of like when you're doing hard drugs for the first time, it's great.
Yeah, yeah.
But you develop a
Yeah.
dependency on it. You know
Even
what
the
I'm saying?
second time.
Yeah, yeah. It becomes there's a dependency on it. You know what I'm saying? There's a dependency
Yeah.
on it. It becomes kind of like you just kept on. You become a junkie of it. You become a junkie, and then you're taking.
And it wears off.
It
And
wears off.
eventually it wears off, or it
Yeah,
no longer gives you the high
yeah,
you were, and it's the same thing, right?
yeah,
Radiant present. Oh yeah, oh
yeah,
yeah. And then soon it's like,
yeah. I can
yeah,
teach glimpses. I've done it before,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
great. It
yeah,
kind of like,
yeah.
but this is
Keeps
not
them
about
coming back for
glimpses.
more.
Yeah, this is not
Yeah.
about glimpses. This is the end of glimpses. This is just the normalcy of things. This is like the sober now. It's like, okay, you know what? You've overdosed, and you enough. Glimpses. It's just this. It's just this. Whatever seems to appear is it. It's just what's happening. But some people are not they're not satisfied with what's happening. They want the radiant presence. You know what I'm saying? They want
Sure.
and it's just it. And then you go back into the hope marketplace again. In the hope
Yeah.
marketplace, you keep on shopping. You know what I'm saying? And thinking that you're getting something, some hope. That hope crashes, for example, when that's why when my dog died, there was so much sadness, but there was so much appreciation for what is. I was able to see, just like, I was able to see his tail wagging the last time. Um, I was hearing myself sobbing, and then I put flowers all around him because there was just this goldenness about it. There's this silence, this emptiness, right? And there's an allowance, well, no one allowing anything, but there's an allowance to grieve. You know what I'm saying? And not make it about anything, but just grieving, just the sadness of separation of of a loved illusion. It's seen as an illusion as well, but the illusion was well loved, and the illusion seemingly loved back. You know what I'm saying? It's just the 16 years, 8 months of illusion of. And that was just, so there was just this pain. It was just this stinging pain, right? It was kind of like, when someone wails crying. That's what
Mm.
it was. It was just so, it
Hmm.
was so severe. Like, like I'm sure neighbors heard, right? It was just this crying. It's kind of like this sobbing, but there was no more. Um, it was a content grieving, right? It was not holding back anymore. That's what I mean. It's just this, and it's not, and people call this as a what do you call it? Bypassing. That's not bypassing. That's
Hmm.
full on expression. The me got out of the way of the grieving.
Yeah.
The me is not, trying to, like, it's all right, I'm enlightened, and it was just this very intimate, naked appearance of everything. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, oh, this is death. It sucks, but it is what it is. But it's not even real. This is the illusory death, the illusory separation of something that was not really even there. the magnitude of the felt sense realness of of this um, um, of this appearance that you're wailing, crying for an illusion is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like, you know, I even have this felt sense of sadness, you know, saying, but it's beauty talking about it.
And
But there's,
gratitude.
yeah,
I
there's a
can sense it in you, you know.
yeah,
There's
there's this
this gratitude for
appreciation
this
for that.
relationship that was one of a kind, right?
Yes. Oh,
One of a
yeah.
kind.
Yeah. And there's no hang-ups and everything. So when that grieving got out the way, and then now I have a new puppy with this, it's this aliveness again, you know what I'm saying? And there's no comparing because it's just
Mm.
aliveness. It's just this, it's just wow. It's just wow. It's just like, what a beautiful gift. You know what I'm saying? What a beautiful gift for no one. Wow. It's just, you know, it's because when someone's saying, well, why are you adopting a puppy? I'm like, it's beautiful. It's the, it's the potty training and all the biting, you know. My my puppy knows how to jump up now, you know what I'm saying? So I was not looking. So I tried to organize myself with all my wires kind of like, you know, tucked in, and you know, like one of those kind of like, you know what, to kind of like get all the wires all up, chewed all the wires, chewed everything. And the but you laugh at it because it is what it is. That's the spices of this appearance, right? The the, you know what I'm saying, the aliveness, it's the full onness. It's alive. And the mischievousness when she's wagging her tail, you know, that I just did that, you know, that kind of thing. It's just the wildness of this.
We have a little dog, and it's our first one, and my first one, and the vet was saying, oh, you have to bring her to get her teeth cleaned, and she's 3.5. And so we brought her in, and next thing you know, they said, oh yeah, we removed 12 of her teeth, and she came back in, but the feeling of, you know, we were so like distraught. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Yeah. Even that feeling of distraught, you know, and that kind of
because
like,
we
oh,
care so
poor.
much, you
Oh
know, like
yeah,
a child.
it's so exquisite, right? That pain. Like, oh, you know, everything is. It's just aliveness. When there's no narrative anymore, you know, this is when the story can like comes in, right? And like, oh, why did we get a puppy? You know what I'm saying? Why did we not take care of it properly and everything?
Oh.
So when that arises, oh, when that arises, all of this stuff is just seen as a narrative of something that can't be changed. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. You know, when the blinders were off, you know what I'm saying, when the storyteller, you know what I'm saying, was retired, it will come up with stories, but it's not grasped anymore. Like
That's the
for
thing. At
example,
that time, the storyteller was still
oh yeah,
much more
yeah, yeah,
active, so there was more. But so now it'll be, well, whatever. It'll be.
yeah.
I look forward, like that monk you were saying, who's like, I'm ready, or that
What
sage
is
who's
it
like,
today?
I'm. What's next? Yeah, yeah.
What's
That's a
next?
little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit how I'm like, okay, this is the last day of like the, you know, just kicking it with Emerson.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tomorrow it begins, you know, or maybe
What's
in an
next? Yeah,
hour.
it's it's kind of like, I can't remember. You know what? There was another one because I talk about death and someone that I think followed Ramesh. I guess was the teacher and everything,
Mhm.
and Ramesh basically he lost his son, and according to the person that I was speaking, that Ramesh grieved legendarily. You know what I'm saying? Because there's this openness to it,
Mhm.
respect. You know what I'm saying? Respect, right? Because there's
Mhm.
respect for that. Because when I was when I was trying to abide in peace or whatever, or you know, I was just twitching. I was twitching because I was in so much pain. I was not trying to think of a, you know, doomed relationship. My mom, um, that I, you know, all of a sudden everything was not sustainable anymore. I can't sustain it, right? So trying to maintain that enlightenment and everything, or abiding in peace and everything, when I should really be sobbing. You know what I'm saying? So the sobbing, all of this kind of stuff is beautiful. It's the acceptance of what is. It's beautiful.
Mm.
It's just what's happening. What's next is just what's happening. Whatever it is, it's just what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So there's a retirement of the storyteller. It's just what's
yeah.
happening. But it's still fully engaged. You know what I'm saying? It's not avoiding it anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's Susie's puppy too. Anonymous, please. So I'm not dreaming. No one's dreaming. This story of is the dreaming. Do I not have a sick child? I know, but I don't know what's really happening in this moment without the story. I sob all the time. Could use a break. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's the that's what I'm talking about, the exquisiteness of this dream, that this felt sense of realness, having, it doesn't diminish that you have a sick child. There's a felt sense realness of taking care of that child, um, of there's just this full onness. But when the story basic of saying that I need a break, or why is this happening to me, um, why is this, why is my child sick, all of this kind of like stuff, when it starts being seen as just what is, it's all emptiness, it's all this passing. Because when all of this emotions can like rise up, it's kind of like sometimes I call them soundtracks, right? Kind of like ominous soundtrack, or sad soundtrack. It's kind of like, it's just basically silence appearing as these sensations and emotion, and appearing as words and thoughts, but it's all emptiness. The dream is happening, although there's this felt sense realness of someone really sick. No one, and this is going to be hard to hear, but no one is there, meaning that everyone is safe, no one is hurt, no one dies. It's emptiness appearing as a sick child. Of course, there's still going to be some care happening, some loving happening, um, some maybe some small celebrations, maybe got better or maybe not. But that's a part of the narrative. But the narrative is not true. We can talk about that, anonymous, later on, if you like, if you want to express that more, um, because I think this might be a better as a back and forth kind of like conversation. But it's the same, with for example, with my mom. You know what I'm saying? She is. It's even hard to talk about it. Sadness arises, right? This is just deteriorating, right? Ever since I got here, um, when I got here, she was still walking every day, and then but she's having a lot of mobility issues, and she was on the walker. Now we have to go wheelchair her. She's had 4 brain surgeries, right? So there's no more stories of why is this happening to my mom. Why was I not here when I was falling apart? I could have taken care. We should have gotten her a lot of personal worker. There's a lot of anything that I could. So when that narrative is gone, there is seeing my mom, seeing kind of like kind of like making her laugh, laughing at her vanity. She has to match all of her colors and everything, and I appreciate it. um, and talking about her childhood, talking about her heartbreaks and all that kind of stuff, talking about all of that stuff. We're talking even when she's talking about her fate, it's welcomed. It's not trying to change it. So despite of all of this pain and all of this uncertainty and deterioration, there is this. It's still enjoying this withering flower as alive, and also seeing it as dead at the same time. When there's acceptance, when there is this, when the story that comes up rises and everything, doesn't really matter anymore, because there's this intimacy now. It's emptiness to emptiness. It doesn't see emptiness as something else. It appears like my mom. It appears like suffering. It appears like ailments. And there's no guilt around it anymore. And there's this, it's like I discover her every time that I hang out with her. It's beautiful. On the other hand, with my other siblings, there's a different story there because there's a lot of wanting to change things. So they flip out. They're like, she should do more of this. She should have more physiotherapy. She should do this, and that. It's trying to prolong it. It, you should Emerson this, and that. And here, there's just a relaxedness to it. There's a gladness. There's a contentment that she's here. It's not looking at the circumstances, looking at the presence. Oh, thank you, Susie. No, Kelly has a pet too. Oh, oh. I'll get my doggy here after in a bit. Because she'll just try to knock off all the lights. Oh. Do you hear her?
Yeah. No, I'm busy hearing mine.
Okay. Kane goes, is their treasuring of every moment. There are no moments actually, so everything is a treasure. Everything is like a discovery. I'm just going to let my puppy in. She keeps on crying, so I'll be right back. Eliana goes, such resonance. Thank you, Emerson, so much. Thank you, Eliana. This is the best thing that never happened. Heart is bursting. Thank you, Emerson, and everyone. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Will you ever go to the States? There are some plans, maybe November, December. But I was talking to Tony, and he's doing a Munich thing, and he's like, "Come." So I don't know. We'll see.
Munich, Munich, Munich.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. When your imaginary father, you know what I'm saying, tells you to kind of like, it'll be nice. Maybe. Yeah. 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 I do have a ticket. I was supposed to go there in May, and I think they canceled it, right? In May, was it right, Petra? In Kisleg, right? So they canceled it, and
Yeah, I saw that also. Yeah, today.
yeah, it was canceled. So, and then things happened, and then all of a sudden I became a speaker. So, um,
Hmm. Surprise.
surprise! How was the experience speaking with Ariane and Thea versus doing them on your own? I've been doing this actually prior to that apparent, live thing. I was already doing it since December. So there's just this. Um, I like this long formats, or where there's this 4 days and everything, rather than kind of like it felt it was like all over the place. Just to be honest. So this is just, yeah. Fred goes, I was drawn to watch a bit of the Queen's funeral, even though I wasn't particularly interested. Then burst out into floods of tears. Yeah, that was unexpected. Felt amazing after. Yeah, that's what is. That's what is. That unexpected kind of like flood, right? It's beautiful, and there's just this afterward. There's just this freshness. We lit some candles here. It was pretty earlier. Although I'm not a monarchist, and it is just what it is. My mom.
I mean, it's just the energy is so wow. Is this big even?
Yeah. What time is it in Europe right now?
1:15 midnight.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. My puppy's back at my door again. Just a second.
Oh, so cute.
It's an Kane goes. It's annoying how people in power who have fame or wealth can get away with things that normal people can't. They have different rules and laws. LOL. Um, it's just a story as well. There's no really wealthy people. What do I usually say? Some people are so poor, all they have is wealth and fame.
It's like the people that don't pick up the dog poop.
Yeah.
this kind of reminds me of the white elephant in the room for humanity.
Yeah.
Because subconsciously each individual kind of knows something's weird about this place. Everything you love dies, you die, everything just, but yet no one really can talk about it, or you avoid it through all the hopium outlets, spirituality, religion.
Yeah.
But you can't just sit around.
It avoid what's obvious.
Yeah. But the elephant in the room is like, hey, let's talk about this. Like, what the fuck is this all about? Like, but it just goes to the lollipop. Just gets buried in future life or religion or.
Oh yeah. It's the fantasy. There's this absolute stunning illusion of what is, what seems to be happening, what's going on, nothing appearing as everything, this empty fullness, right? This, right? On top of that, so it avoids this clarity, this wonderland, this paradise, by creating another version of it, of what it should be. Or it overlays it, goes on top and tries to think, tries to create, what I'm saying, kind of like a narrative that obscures this clarity.
Yeah, because it's just there's another time and there's another concept, which is basically a time and space biscuit, a cookie. So it just grabs onto another cookie, and then
it is, yeah. If you, my puppy right now is obsessed with a tennis ball. You know what I'm saying? It's just playing with it. And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like they're like always on acid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's aliveness, or I bought a bunch of toys for her, right? And she's obsessed with a water bottle and a tennis ball that we found in the park. The rest is ignored. And it's just this aliveness. It's just this, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and the kids kind of know all this, but then they get sense, and no one's doing anything, but they get sense.
Yeah. In the
story, the educational concentration camps.
in the story, when my nephew sees me, his eyes light up, right? And it's just kind of like when a dog sees you, they're just like, you know what I'm saying? They're just wagging their whole body. It's just excited to see this aliveness, and here we are, apparently there's no us here or whatever, or people, saying, seeking for liberation when everything is already liberated. Look at the puppy, saying it's so liberated that it's licking its own bum. You know what I'm saying?
we didn't know the characters Emerson before all this, but it seems like you were still kind of that jovial uncle, you know what I mean? It seems like
until it got serious. It got serious and became spiritual. That was the
then it
yeah. There was this character that was like aliveness and everything, and it got serious into seeking, thinking that it was important, thinking that it had a mission, thinking that it had a thing, tried to fix everyone. Became a pain in the ass, to be honest, to a lot of people. But thinking that it can change the world. It had a mission. It had a purpose. I was very earnest at that, but when the earnestness was just beginning to kind of like blur into this illusion that that nothing really matters, so it becomes kind of like, why am I doing this still then? That kind of thing. When the illusion is beginning to be seen as when things are beginning to be seen as it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it became heavy because it was holding on to that idea that it is on a special mission and special purpose. It's this specialness to what is, right? It's like I put on a costume, you know what I'm saying, of a superhero, and I'm going around thinking that it's true. They're like, it's a costume.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm
yeah.
Batman. It's a costume. And then all of a sudden I realized it was a costume, and I was kind of like, it was just kind of like, I'm not really Batman. I don't have any, I don't have any. I'm not Superman. I don't have any powers. And then of course all of the people that believe that you are this costume, they're kind of like, he's a fraud. And you're like, yes, I am. Or there's the other special people that will be like, he's so honest that he said that. But there's also going to
Yeah.
be other people that are going to be like, that gets really, really hurt because they believed in your superpowers of redemption.
Yeah, and it's the same. It's probably the same power to have a costume of weakness,
Yeah.
of victim, or poor me. This. It's like the same kind of thing. It's you're maintaining an image that has nothing to do with who you really are.
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing to do with your beautiful absence.
Yeah. It's really a maintenance of the identity. The identity that's created, the identity that is presented, the identity. It's like your life. Your life is your creation, but there's no life and there's no you creating it. So how heavy is that? What a big burden of rocks is that, right? My life. My destiny. Wow. The life. How's your life right now? I'm like, oh well, it's, and then becomes this seeming unconscious trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix my life right now. As if there is someone, saying that can fix life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. Yeah. And of
Yeah,
course,
that's
it's
it.
not. Of course, what's happening, the illusion that's happening is not going to be the same as what you want to happen. It's always going to crash and clash. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is not what I expected it to be. It's always going to be like that way. When
But
when
that's the freedom. That's the freedom.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't. Yeah,
When you want to make a U-turn, it goes head on. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like U-turn, U-turn, U-turn.
Yeah.
And it just keeps on going. You're like, no, it's gonna crash. And when it crashes, because you're avoiding the crash, you miss the beautiful crash.
Yeah, because knowing what's going to happen, or that false sense of knowing, or the projections, the goals, all that stuff, you're just setting yourself up. If it goes right, you're screwed. If it doesn't go right, you're screwed.
Illusion of control is just the oh wow. And that's what spirituality is. That's what enlightenment, and that's what advaitavedanta is. The illusion of control. The illusion of all of the stuff, meditation.
That's the hope. That's the hopium, pure hopium, just
Oh yeah,
right into
yeah.
the veins.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's what do you call that? It's yeah, right to the veins. Yeah, it's
Yeah. It'll get you high for a couple of weeks or whatever. Then you just get another dosage of hopium.
Oh, it's chewing. My Ella is chewing another wire there. She found. So if the power crashes, she learned. I tried to organize it. Got one of those things. You know what I'm saying? And she learned how to undo it. And she likes coming here when I'm speaking because she knows I'm not going to stop her.
We could learn a lot from nature. Like, animals are so
Yeah.
no self-awareness whatsoever.
No. It goes, oh yeah, thank you. Words, yeah, that's a good song. Enjoy the silence. No more cables and no more fables. Can you still hear me? Yeah? Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Lori. Thank you. Someone anonymously suggested that we should dance soon. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, why not? So so what has been expressed here in the past 4 days um, is this illusory expression of this stillness, of this emptiness that is always present in the dancing, in the grieving, in the crying, in the singing, in the talking, in the sobbing. The silence that can never leave is always present, even in this, in the loudest of cries. Um, and just to wrap this up, already, already done. It's been done ever since I even started speaking, or even before any of this happened, because none of this has ever happened. None of this is happening. And we'll dance. Thank you so much, everyone. We're going to open up the